Live from tape, pre-recorded at our studios in Austin, Texas and Portland, Oregon, it's Syndicated with Lesley and Ben. Hey everyone, I'm the Ben of that.
I'm the Lesley. This is a twice-monthly podcast about television, genre, and storytelling, in which we watch an episode of a show and explore the history of television, one episode at a time.
And today we are joined by special guest, my friend and yours, Jeff Martin. Jeff, hello, how are you doing?
Hello. Thanks for having me, Ben and Lesley. Very excited to talk about NewsRadio.
It's an absolute pleasure. I'm going to ask you about you and your friendship with NewsRadio.
Good friends with NewsRadio. We're best buddies. They came to my birthday last year.
Nice. Friendship with 30 Rock has ended. Now friendship with NewsRadio is strong. But Jeff, real quick, if you don't mind, why don't you say like kind of who you are, what you do? You have a handful of projects you've got up in the air at any given point.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've got some comics to promote.
I am a cartoonist. I write and draw comic books. My current project is a workplace comedy about demons who work in the office that manages hell. It is called Hell Inc., and you can find it at hell.rentathugcomics.com.
Of which I am a proud patron.
Yes. This episode's going to be your next Employee of the Week shout-out, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. I mean, I would hope you tweeted about it at some point. But Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, you know a bit about weird office dynamics and workplace comedies, so it figured this was a good fit.
Yeah, I think so.
Speaking of offices and what we're discussing today, if you're just tuning in now, we are talking about NewsRadio, the 5-season show about the chaotic office dynamics of the WNYX AM radio station based out of New York City. The show ran on NBC from 1995 to 1999. It has a somewhat theatrical edge, as at least for the episode that we saw, there's really only one set, and everything feels like it's kind of played toward the audience.
Yeah, this is something that I put in my notes because, like, something about this, I think the two things that we just mentioned, but also, like, I don't know, the pointing to things off screen, the kind of way it's like played outwardly, it very much feels like high school or college theater to me.
Okay. Yeah. That makes total sense. Also the whole B plot of the movie date. Right, and how they were never we never saw them. I don't know if we saw them at the movies in the previous episode, but I'm assuming not.
I have watched quite a bit. I overdid my research a little bit. I'm like most of the way through season 3. And they almost never leave the main radio station.
Okay.
Nobody's like apartments or anything?
You never see any... You see, like, Dave's parents' house on a Christmas episode. And, like, occasionally you'll see... like, there's an episode later on where Jerry Seinfeld is a guest. And
I guess he would, wouldn't he?
Lisa and Bill run into him at a restaurant and then sort of ambush him into being on their talk show.
Okay.
I guess that does make a lot of sense because this aired on NBC in the 90s in New York City.
And that episode would have been in like 97 or 98.
Height of their popularity.
Peak of Seinfeld's powers.
Oh, yeah. And Jerry Seinfeld in universe is a celebrity.
Yes.
And in our universe, obviously.
Well, yes, but
I don't know if you guys have heard of this.
It's hard to, it's hard to say, who is a celebrity and who is playing a role of somebody else who works at a radio station or whatever. So, it's really interesting that you bring that up. I had never really even thought about it, but you're absolutely right. It definitely has that feel of a stage production.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, you can very clearly tell, like, it's a soundstage set where, like, half of the set is cut off. I was especially noticing it when Stephen Root's character, Jimmy James, like points up. He's like, you see those not fire extinguishers, sprinklers up there. Those sprinklers up there. I had a guy come in and super glue them, and he's pointing up at nothing. The camera doesn't point up because if the camera points up, it'll see a bunch of bright stage lights pointing down.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But like that kind of thing, like that feels so like high school or college, like local community theater to me.
Yeah, it
just
really
like characters
does.
going like, "Oh, look out that window over there," and they're like pointing straight into the audience.
Yeah.
Like, you see that fire truck going by? No.
Yeah, you're absolutely
we
right.
They do cut away to stock footage of vehicles going by in
Yes,
this episode and later.
Yeah, they do.
Every ambulance in the series, by the way, is that same stock footage of an ambulance.
Are you kidding? That's hilarious.
They use it a couple times later.
Yeah, I've never watched this show before. So I've known about it. I was aware that it was great and that it existed and that it was something that I should be watching, and I just never did. So now I'm really glad that I have, because I found it extremely entertaining. If a little dated, which we'll get to later. But yeah, so
I'm remembering off the top of my head, like I think didn't 30 Rock also do that? They do like interstitials of like traffic outside, and it was specifically, it would be a lot of like yellow taxi cabs pulling up in front of the 30 Rock like marquee, the famous 30 Rockefeller Center marquee. NBC, look, they figured out what worked, and they kept making workplace comedies forever.
that is very true.
It feels like there's very much a straight line between this show and the later kind of NBC hit workplace comedies, like your Offices and 30 Rock and like Parks and Rec a little bit. Like this very much feels like those shows, and just an earlier iteration with a lot less money.
yeah, I guess so. But yeah, especially because, Lesley, you and I have been covering a lot of shows that like Larry Sanders appears to be filmed in an actual office building. Scrubs, you mentioned, is filmed in an actual training hospital. Like all that kind of stuff. It was just super like nakedly obvious. Like, oh, this is literally a soundstage.
Yeah.
And yeah, the way they like play things outwards. Characters aren't usually facing each other fully. They're kind of like facing outward a little bit. Like that kind of theater stuff is just so very clearly theatrical in its nature. I thought that was really, really neat. And also something about the plot struck me that way as well, but I'll wait to talk about that specifically as we go on. So the show features Dave Foley as station manager Dave Nelson, who has to manage all the talent and staff on set, a job I've done and I guess am doing that I'm not envious of in the slightest, as I am the content director of Infinity Break. And also I don't know if Lesley, you know this, and Jeff, I would have never told you this, but in high school I was the first station director of BTV on Channel 3, our high school news program.
Really?
Yeah. We put in like my high school way back in the day. I guess I just told everyone where I went to high school. Oh, who cares? Whatever. I told people where I'm from. But we like put in for like a weird like grant or whatever, and we got like our school got funded with like a television station. Like it was just as I was hitting like junior year, and I was a member of like the AV club for like 2 years prior to that. So it was very much a case of like, hey Ben, you signed up for this class the first second it was available. Do you want to be station director since you know how this stuff works? And the answer was yes, I do.
Did your electrician also become a thought leader for Dumb Bros?
No, he did not.
Okay, so the news radio parallels aren't all.
No, they're not all
there for you.
But I very much did like sit in that center like cushy office chair and go like, all right, can we get camera one? Camera one started. Go up and bring graphics on camera one. Camera one rolling. Go, like that kind of stuff. Not quite auction patter, but pretty close. If you recognize Dave Foley's voice, it's because he voiced Flick on The Bug's Life.
I know Dave Foley from, his storied career in many things, but I do think that the first thing that I ever saw Dave Foley in was actually the It's Pat movie.
I don't think I'm familiar.
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, God. It is a film that was based on a Saturday Night Live skit back in the 90s about an extremely androgynous person named Pat.
Oh, no.
I don't remember if it holds up well or not, because I watched it an incredibly long time ago, and the only thing that I remember about that film is that Dave Foley plays an equally androgynous person with an equally androgynous name, and that Ween is in it, and that is how I first found out who Ween is, the band.
God, all of that is dated.
Yep.
Both in an offensive sense and a 1995 sense.
Yep.
I learned who Dave Foley was from watching Kids in the Hall, because I'm Canadian, and that was just a legal requirement of growing up in Canada, is you had to see Kids in the Hall, which was what a lot of stations used as their CanCon requirement.
Yeah, I didn't watch Kids in the Hall until a little later in my life.
For as much as Dave Foley is like the build star of the show, the entire thing is built around Phil Hartman.
Yeah. Phil Hartman is playing Bill McNeil. He plays this blowhard anchor for the station whose star power and bombast seems to put him in Dave's crosshairs quite a lot. Of course, Phil Hartman, was a longtime cast member of Saturday Night Live. Just a genius. Very, very tragically died. I watched a documentary about the whole thing recently, actually, and it was very good.
Damn.
Yeah, apparently he didn't want to be an actor at first. Like, he had other stuff he wanted to do, and...
That's weird, considering he was a famed comedian and actor for like 20 solid years. Yeah, I think ran 8 seasons of Saturday Night Live is what I saw.
It was a long time. It was a lot of years. He was very, very prolific.
That was in the bridge between the 80s and 90s. I don't know. People talk about how there's good years and bad years of SNL like it's a wine. That might have been the good time. That might have been the bad time. I don't know. All I know is the last 10 years have been the bad time.
It was a good time for SNL. That's when they had like David Spade and Chris Farley, and like it was a good time.
Okay. So quality stuff. Yeah. Here's the thing. When I look at this show, I do kind of mentally think, why is David Spade not here? Where is he? Is he hiding somewhere? Because it gives off that kind of vibe to me. I don't know how to describe that.
I'm pretty sure he was on Just Shoot Me at the same time.
Let's see. Maura Tierney as Lisa Miller is a reporter for WNYX who has an occasional relationship with Dave Nelson. From the year this show ended in 1999 all the way up until 2009, she played Abby Lockhart on ER, and after that had recurring and starring roles on The Good Wife, The Affair, and The Whole Truth. And that's her whole The filmography.
Yeah, I really, really like her, and I wish that I had seen her in more stuff. No, she's been in films as well. She's done quite a few films.
Well, each of those shows I just mentioned, she's starring in one of them, but she has like minimum 14 episodes in each of them.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I really like her. I like the work that she does. Whenever I see her, it just makes me feel happy. I don't know what it is. It just makes me happy.
She's also very fun, like, as the type A nerd who just tries so hard and is like the only person that can out-nerd Dave in the series. And they play with that a lot, which is very fun. And it lets Dave Foley do some of the kind of sarcastic rejoinders, but delivered in Canadian, where he's just sort of laughing quietly to himself as he says them.
Something I like about the humor of this show, I think we'll have to come back to. The Dave laughs at his own jokes, but also the way... Actually, I'll say it now. The way the jokes are told. I like that the actors... We were talking about how fucking, like, fast and pitter-patter, like well, Letterkenny, I guess. But also, like, how Better Off Ted sounds with the way it's so fastly paced or whatever. Or,
yeah.
Or I guess Larry Sanders has, like, some nice, like, naturalism to it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This show, like, the actors play it as if the characters need to think of their joke. In a lot of cases, and there's a lot of moments like one person will pause, kind of smile to them and go, well, like, you know, they'll you can see the gears turning on the characters' faces, not because the actors forgot their line, but because they are giving those characters a moment to think of a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're not playing all the characters as, you know, hyper clever dialogue machines like you get in some comedies, and just some, like, you know, a show like Gilmore Girls where everyone is super snappy and they always have the comeback, and all the conversations just fire off really rapidly. Like, these characters respond like people, where they have to stop and think about things. And sometimes you do come up with the perfect comeback, but it takes you 10 seconds.
Yeah, well, there's a bit where Stephen Root goes like, I'll give you a moment to think of a comeback. I'm going to go do your job for you. But yeah, it just reminds me of, in contrast with Better Off Ted, where Ted and his boss are like just like two rapid-fire typewriters going at each other. This feels so much more natural. Or the way people write Spider-Man, where he's like constantly quipping. He's got a quip ready for every attack. And then here it's like...
That's what makes him so lovable.
That's what makes him so lovable. But even here it's like... I think you like it takes them a moment to fire up. That feels very natural and very fun.
It also does lend itself quite a bit to that mood once again of the community production.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, giving because it feels more like a play that way. Kind of like giving actors the pause.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just because there's no editing, I guess, is what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
And also, for the record, or for what it seems to be, this is a very minimally edited show. Most of
at least this episode was.
Yeah.
It stays that way.
Interesting.
Throughout.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's such an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, you're very much getting theater style. They kind of do an entire scene, and then you'll get a cut at the end, and it'll go to the next scene. And really, the only time you're getting camera cuts within a scene is if they transition into a new location while they're walking and talking. Like, if the scene starts outside of Dave's office and moves into it, then you'll get a cut. Or
like maybe a reaction closer in on the other character's face or whatever.
Yeah, but Catherine Duke, who is very much a token character in NewsRadio as the only person of color in the show.
I was noticing that. Speaking of ER, Condi Alexander plays fellow news anchor Catherine Duke, who, as Jeff just hinted at, is the kind of only person of color on the entire staff. I noticed that a show we covered very early on in the season, Larry Sanders, kind of runs into the exact same problem, especially as that character fills a very similar role within the cast of that show. But she plays opposite Bill McNeil inside the studio when they're recording live. Condi would also go on to star in The Corner, an HBO series in 2000. And again, speaking of ER, she was on that show for a solid, it looks like about 6 years.
Oh, wow. What do you know anything about The Corner? I don't think I've ever even heard of that show.
No, nothing.
Yeah, I don't either.
I feel like I only know, I know this is a television podcast in which we purport to be television experts, but prior...
No!
Prior to me getting HBO Max, I could maybe list 10 HBO series.
I'm an enthusiast. I would not call myself...
I'm a media expert. There we go. I'm not a television expert.
Well, I do love television, though. A lot. And that's what matters, Ben.
But I could probably only list 10 HBO series. And then upon getting HBO Max, I'm like, oh, there's 100.
Oh, yeah. There's a bunch. Is that why you've started watching all of these good shows now? Is because you got HBO Max?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's why I started The Sopranos yesterday.
Fuck yeah, man. I love that for you. Yeah, so I am so pleased by this one. Stephen Root as Jimmy James, the billionaire station owner who pops up in the office. Obviously, everybody recognizes Stephen Root. He was the voice of Bill Dauterive and Buck Strickland on King of the Hill, and he was also in Office Space as Milton. And more recently, though, he was Barry's money man and handler on Barry, which is also on HBO. Speaking of HBO shows.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Barry? Either of you?
I have heard of it, but I've never seen it. I need to watch it.
I saw the first season. I haven't seen the second one.
It's only 8 episodes a season. It's so goddamn good. It's so fucking funny. That cast is stellar independently and with each other. It's some incredible television. Real mix of oh, hey, Lesley, remember when we were recording Party Down, we were talking about that melancholy comedy? Barry.
Okay.
That's the core of Barry.
Okay.
Of not black comedy or dark comedy necessarily, but comedy with kind of a melancholy or depressed edge to it. Not we're all gonna die, but kind of life, it's messy.
Right, and that's the one this the reason why everybody's like thirsty for Bill Hader now, right?
Yeah. And now, to be fair, they should have been thirsty for Bill Hader long before.
I mean, I agree. I agree that they should have had taste beforehand, but not everybody knew. So, kids these days, etc., etc. So,
I can't believe we recorded a whole MASH episode and we didn't bring up his incredible Alan Alda impression.
I know.
Love a girl.
What's wrong with us?
Oh, yeah. Also, for bringing up good Stephen Root roles, he's really good in exactly one episode of season 1 of Fargo.
Oh, yeah. How could I forget that Stephen Root was in that? He was so good in it, too. He's so good in it.
He's so good in that, as a dentist.
He's so good. That episode's really good, too.
Lastly, Joe Rogan is here. Before he became the host of Fear Factor, the only artist Spotify knows how to write a check to anymore, and the world's #1 peddler of horrible medical advice and transphobia.
God almighty.
I'm also told he can act.
As the series goes along, like in this episode, Joe Rogan is entirely there for the gay panic joke subplot of the movie theater, which was mentioned earlier, which is just an entire subplot of Lisa thinking Joe knows that her and Dave are dating, but actually the reason he's being awkward is because he went to a movie with a male friend and thinks Lisa thinks that he's gay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the whole joke. It is 1995.
Sure is.
As the series carries on, you see the Joe character basically turn into the Joe Rogan podcast host character, except he can't talk about drugs all the time.
I absolutely got that feeling.
There are multiple jokes about him being like really into conspiracy theories.
Cool.
There's an episode where him and Lisa are doing a fill-in radio program, and he's basically yelling fake news at her, and she's like, well, how can you prove any of the things you're saying? And his response is, because me smart and you dumb. And I was like,
his name is Joe.
It
yeah,
is.
I was gonna make a joke. I'll still make the joke, but now you've unfortunately trampled over what was gonna be a haha. Wouldn't that be funny? With the God's honest truth, which is that it's weird you categorize that as a subplot of this episode when it also seems to be the subplot of Joe Rogan's life. That's all I was gonna say. Was the homophobia?
Oh wow.
Whatever. The homophobia.
Oh wow.
There's also a weird running joke where no one can remember his last name. So whenever someone uses it, everyone else has no idea who they're talking about.
Wow.
Good.
Like, that's a multiple seasons long, just like weird quirk of his character, is that no one remembers his last name, but then he invents wild, like, garbage inventions. And by garbage, I mean they're mostly made out of trash.
Yeah.
Not that they're bad, they're made out of garbage.
Right. It's literally made out of refuse.
And he puts his name on them in duct tape, and they still are like, what's a Gorelli? That's my name.
That's so fucking funny.
And
wow.
Now that is a good joke.
That just keeps going.
I just wish it weren't him.
It's such a good, weird running joke.
I posted last night, like, hey, this is the show we're talking about, and I posted, which means we have to talk about the bad man, and I posted a shot of the Fear Factor logo. And 2 different people replied to me saying, oh, this is how I find out this is where Joe Rogan's from. And I didn't know Joe Rogan did Fear Factor.
I also didn't know he did Fear Factor.
Yeah,
that's where I knew him from.
Well, at the time, like, I didn't really watch Fear Factor, and it was just another reality show, and I've always hated reality television. And Joe Rogan, like, he didn't do anything else that I gave a shit about, so why would I know who the fucking host of Fear Factor is? Like, who fucking cares? Like, do I know who the host of The Bachelor is? No. Like, that's kind of how my brain went, so that's why I never knew that Joe Rogan was that guy.
And why would you make a connection between that guy who ran a weird insect-themed television program in 2005 and a dude who has a lot of Nazis on his show in 2020?
Yeah, right. Like, those 2 things feel mutually exclusive enough to where I would not have ever came to that that I would not have ever come to that conclusion organically. Yeah.
And to be fair, the centipedes that he made people eat, those are better people.
That is very true. He should have just stuck with the bugs, man. Should have just stuck with the bugs. What a
Oh,
piece
and now
of
I'm
shit
imagining
Joe
Joe
Rogan is.
Rogan's show as it is now, but all of his guests are just an insect with like a headset nearby, and you only get Joe Rogan's audio, and then just blanks from the insect, and he just becomes a raving lunatic who yells at millipedes.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be like Garfield minus Garfield, but with the Joe Rogan experience and
Yes.
bugs.
Exactly. So he's just raving about DMT to like silence.
And I'm sure Spotify would still pay out for that.
Probably.
Oh Jesus, out the ass. So I just want to point out, Ben, that you did not list somebody on the script.
Yeah, I didn't have anything positive to say about this one.
Yeah, that Andy Dick is also. So I guess all we have to say is Andy Dick is also here.
He does a lot of very elaborate pratfalls as the series continues. Like his role is entirely to be a man-child.
Oh, okay. Don't worry, that came through.
and to fall down.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. It was the 90s. People really loved Andy Dick in the 90s for whatever reason. And
because people didn't know anything about Andy Dick in the 90s. He was just a weird-looking dude who fell down funny.
Yeah, that's very true. But I remember Ben and I were texting each other about NewsRadio, and we were talking about, he said something about the bad one, talking to me about Joe Rogan, and I was like, which one? They're like, are you talking about, and I think I said, are you talking about Andy Dick, or are you talking about, or did something happen with Dave Foley? And he's like, no, I'm talking about Joe Rogan. And I was like, oh fuck, he's on this show too? Like I had no idea. And so, yeah, I was like, Andy Dick sucks. That's it. Andy Dick's here too. He falls a lot. He sucks.
I was a little concerned about how well the show would hold up because Andy Dick and Joe Rogan were on it. Mm-hmm. But they're so unimportant that they don't really hurt the quality of the show at all, because they're absolutely like the bottom tier of characters.
Yeah.
They're around, but
neither of them seemed terribly important in this episode.
No,
they're not.
No.
They will occasionally get an episode where they're more important, but
yeah, I did really enjoy. I did really enjoy the episode. We'll get to that in just a minute, but yeah, later seasons. I want to say seasons 5 on would feature Saturday Night Live's John Lovitz. He stepped in after Phil Hartman was tragically murdered in '98. And I'm sure everybody recognizes John Lovitz from, he's just
everything.
Super prolific, massive film and TV filmography. He's just been in everything. But relevant to some of our future discussions as the voice of Jay Sherman in The Critic, as the Critic.
Yes. And
I love that
and
show.
The Simpsons for a number of seasons.
Yeah, but whenever I think of John Lovitz, the first thing I ever think about is
it stinks.
The very minor role that he played in The Wedding Singer.
Oh yeah,
as the other wedding singer.
Right.
Sophisticated mama. I just really love John Lovitz a lot. John Lovitz.
Not to rewind back to Andy Dick.
Oh God, we just moved on to John Lovitz, and he's great.
When you and I were texting about that, I think I said very specifically the phrase to you. I don't know. I'm proud of this line. This is the longest controversy section on a Wikipedia article I have seen outside of a politician.
Yes, you did say that about Andy Dick when you looked. Oh, because you didn't know that Andy Dick sucked.
I didn't know anything about him. It goes on forever.
Yeah, it goes on for a really long time.
That controversy section on his Wikipedia article is so strong it shows up on John Lovitz's Wikipedia article. It literally says,
"Oh, that's right," because they have a beef.
Yeah, they hate each other because Lovitz blames Andy Dick for Hartman's death.
Yes, he does. That is correct.
No, like legit.
That was in the documentary.
One of the subheadings says "Feud with Andy Dick." It's like a major part of John Lovitz's Wikipedia page.
Well, there you go.
Also, this will come out during June, so that's Pride Month. I want to say that Andy Dick's performance was more homophobic than Joe Rogan was.
That is true.
It's just
Andy Dick is just
a personal, just a personal thought. That's all. I really didn't. I really hate them.
Anywho.
Last but not least, the episode that we watched today was Smoking, in which a recent city mandate forces the NewsRadio office to become a non-smoking office. While most people have no trouble adjusting to clearer air in downtown New York City, Beale McNeil... Excuse me? Phil... the Navy SEAL...
Oh, boy.
While most people have no trouble adjusting to clearer air in downtown New York City, Bill McNeil makes his addiction other people's problem. Dave makes a pact with Bill to quit smoking if he quits drinking coffee. Is that the name of the character from BoJack, like episode 2? It's like blank.
It's Neil McBeal.
Neil McBeal, the Navy SEAL. All right.
The Navy SEAL. Why would you steal a meal from Neil McBeal, the Navy SEAL? Yeah.
God, my wires so clearly got crossed there. I'm leaving that in. That's funny as hell.
That's really funny.
So Jeff, now comes the part of the show where I have a very simple question for you, which is why News Radio?
Well, I gave you a list of shows, and it was the one that you guys hadn't talked about yet that I was most excited to rewatch. And yeah, like I remembered watching it in syndication and really enjoying it. And I wanted an excuse to rewatch it when I found out it was on the CTV website for free. And so, yeah, so I used that opportunity to rewatch it. And yeah, it holds up shockingly well. Like the writing on it feels much more modern than I would have expected from a 90s sitcom. Other than the thing about, the whole episode about not being allowed to smoke indoors being a new, and, like, it being an imposition that you're not allowed to smoke indoors felt very 90s.
It was fun, though, to, like, be in that time capsule.
It was.
But I think that maybe you're really onto something here. I think the reason why it feels so timeless, not to go back to this old chestnut over and over in the same episode, but I think that stage quality production and that method of shooting and filming and everything, I think is what makes it feel like it does hold up. Because, like, it's a very timeless method, right? Like, people have been going and watching shows in a theater for ages upon ages and will continue to do so. So anyway, yeah, I think that's why it has that kind of timeless, still holds up feel to it.
Yeah, there was like a little synapse in my brain that fired where I was like, because this feels so much like a community production of theater to me. Again, even though the cast is like beyond talented and phenomenal, that's not the thing. It's like the way it's played feels like community theater. Like I was like okay with how dated it felt, and I don't mean dated in the offensive sense. I mean dated in the sense of like everyone's dressed like the 90s and it's about a very 90s issue, which was smoking bans. Even though I think in Oregon that shit didn't happen until like 2004 or something.
Oh, it didn't happen for a really long time in Alabama.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah. No, I just remember it when it was a big deal when like the mall started putting up those signs that was like, please smoke 50 feet away from the front door.
Yeah.
The Washington Square Mall down in Tigard, Oregon. Go there now. But like, I don't know, like I when it feels theatrical like that, my brain goes like, well, yeah, plays are set in the past. There's
exactly.
There's because when I think of like those kind of like farcical plays, I think they're either like they're set in like a Victorian house and like the staff are, being like, excuse me, sir, dinner's still ready if you want it, like that kind of like that kind of like broad farcical comedy, or it's set in like a 1960s kind of Mad Men office, and it's like Guys and Dolls or like She Loves Me or so, stuff like that. Those kind of musicals that are like a lot of like, very well rehearsed kind of comedy like that. And like
right.
That's also something that felt theatrical about this episode in particular, and maybe it's the entire show. But like Dave's role in that is like, I'm the put upon boss, and everyone comes to me with their problems. And that feels like very like a core like farce character.
Yeah.
Just the juggling multiple balls in the air and everything like keeps coming back at the end. Like, will you please confirm these reservations? And he's the one like putting that
right.
Like, that kind of
yeah.
not class comedy, but like that kind of like, I don't know, like structural comedy. You know, the lord of the house and all of his servants and guests who keep, you know, butting in, or the boss of the office and all of the other coworkers. They all need something from me. You know, what am I supposed to do? Like that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
That also felt super theatrical for me, because I feel like those are the kind of shows that people do for their high school productions.
Now, I want to see a high school do an episode of NewsRadio as their play.
Or like an anthology.
That would be really cool, actually. So, Jeff, my question for you is, once you had decided on NewsRadio, what exactly was it about this specific episode that appealed and made you say, this is the one that I'm gonna make Lesley and Ben watch?
So, part of it was I wanted an episode that was early enough that there weren't like layers of character dynamics that you guys would need to figure out. Although in this show that doesn't really become an issue. There's not a ton of ongoing story outside of Dave and Lisa's relationship. And even that is very... it's not handled in a way where you really need episode to episode information to keep track of it. You're really just there together pretty much immediately. Like in the pilot, they're kind of combative, and then they go out to dinner to hash out their issues.
Okay.
And then at the beginning of the second episode, they've had sex.
As one does.
After that.
As one does.
Because you realize later on that Lisa gets horny when she yells at people. And Dave gets horny when Lisa yells at him.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a match made in heaven for them.
Okay.
So she can just scream at him and they'll both have a good time.
That's kind of funny.
But so they really...
That is pretty
They really skipped the... They actually do an episode based around Lisa trying to not yell at people, but she's furious the entire episode. But she knows she'll get horny if she starts screaming at people. So there's just a lot of Maura Tierney trying to play it cool in the most cartoonish ways possible. And it's wonderful.
That sounds like a delight. I will definitely be watching more of this, so I hope to get to that episode fairly soon.
That one is in late season 2 or early season 3, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, and the other thing was that part of what I thought was interesting about this show was how it somehow feels like a modern show. Like the writing feels very modern, but the presentation feels incredibly 90s or even older. And so I wanted to find an episode that kind of encapsulated all of that stuff. And I think this one was perfect because it is the kind of episode topic that would never get written today, but written in a way that, you know, still feels modern. And the idea of Bill and Dave going through their addiction withdrawal together just ended up with a lot of really funny... generally, Phil Hartman and Dave Foley are the funniest pairing, I find.
It super seems so.
I loved that entire plot. I loved it so much, and I knew,
so good.
And I knew that they were going to end up both exploding and losing their tempers, and I knew it was going to happen, and I couldn't wait for it to happen. I was like, I know that this is happening, and I need it to happen like now because I've got to see it. And when it finally did, it was just beautiful.
I really love the bit where Dave, because like they are legitimately trying to help each other, which I also like. You know, like. Bill is he's the kind of character who will try to sabotage his coworkers, but in this case they kind of go in together on it. Right. And so when Dave gets him the patches illegally, like the idea that Phil is just like, yep, this is great, I love it, and then puts them all on like a belt and has to go to the hospital.
Yeah, so that I had that in my notes as well, that it's so funny. Once again, you know, the anachronisms of the time or whatever, it's just so interesting to me to see that he had to get a prescription for them, which is definitely not a thing
I was gonna say,
that you need anymore.
Because I'm not...
You do not need a prescription for smoking cessation devices anymore.
I have absolutely just seen those on the
No,
shelf.
yeah. You can go into the pharmacy and just grab them.
Yeah, because I've never been a smoker myself, but like literally I was sitting there thinking like, if I remember anything about high school health, it's that you can just get that shit.
Well, that's because when you were in high school, baby boy, then you absolutely could, but there was once a time.
Sorry.
Once upon a time in which that was not made up. Like in the 90s, that was a thing.
No, I believe it. Yeah. Back when I was in high school in 2010.
Oh god, you're like 12.
You were in high school in 2010?
Yeah.
Like
2008, 2012.
what? I mean, like I
I'm
know, but also
27 years
what?
old.
I know. I know you are. And I'm 37 years old, and it's a weird gap
And
sometimes.
it's just the two of us, just the two.
Sometimes you say something, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Hey, Lesley.
Huh?
Jurassic Park came out before I was born.
I don't care. I don't need to hear this. I don't need to hear this.
That is violence, Ben.
This is violence, Ben.
Watching the two of them interact made me kind of realize that one of my favorite character dynamics is like, I'll try to summarize this as best I can with like just the phrase, I have to give you a hard time about this, right? Like I feel like that's a character dynamic I really latch on to. Whether it's like the boss and their problem employee, or like, I don't know, two friends who hold each other accountable about something. But it's like, I have to be a hard ass about this, right? I know, but I love you anyway. Like that kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing, I guess that kind of shows up a lot because we've been talking about workplace comedies, that like a lot of the core conflicts in these shows are the boss and their problem employee. Whether that's Rip Torn and Gary Shandling in Larry Sanders, as we've covered, or I mean, I guess that's the core of Scrubs, ain't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, it's not necessarily quote unquote boss but it's a hierarchy thing.
Yeah.
It's a subordinate mentor mentee relationship.
Whereas in Better Off Ted, they're like
So,
both
yeah.
on the same side.
Yes, but you do also have the subordinates as
that's
well.
true,
You
yeah.
have the two scientists, and then you do have the love interest as well. So there's always like the dynamic of, and I like as we go further and further into these things. I mean, I feel very confident that power struggles are probably pretty prevalent in most television that we consume.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I'm thinking specifically about like the boss and the problem employee. I mean that's Liz and Tracy, and that's
And Jenna.
and that's obviously that's fucking what that's what Michael and Dwight are. And all that kind of stuff.
Now that I think about it, that's My Comic Hell Inc. does the same thing. One of the core conflicts is the boss and his problem employee.
It's a great workplace trope, man. It's a great workplace comedy trope. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's just such a delightful one.
And in Parks and Rec, the problem employee is the supervisor, Ron Swanson.
Yeah, it's kind of reversed, where it is the subordinate and their problem
Where
boss.
Leslie's continually just being like, please check your email. No, the email is the government, Lesley.
Please let me do my job.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess really all I had to say about the show was like, I mean, I obviously I enjoyed the dialogue, and I like the way they pause when it looks like one of them is thinking of a joke. But I really latched onto the kind of the theatrical nature of it. And I know that's not necessarily unique to this show. I know that's what sitcoms were prior to like 1995 for the most part.
But it's so obvious in this show.
It's super obvious in the show. I really noticed it when he's like, look at those like fire sprinklers up there. Then I was like, oh yeah, duh, they can't show that.
Yeah.
One thing I do like is that they will continue to modify the set as it goes along with things that happen in previous episodes.
Oh,
For
really?
example, they set up Bill's smoking area in this episode.
Yes, so I guess that hermetically
and-
sealed thing is going to be there forever now.
No, the one by the window that they set up earlier, where they open the window and it blows everything around.
Yes.
That actually stays there for the rest of the series, and there's another later episode about Bill wanting to make his smoking experience more comfortable.
I can picture that.
He tries to con the other employees into helping him buy a very expensive fancy chair that they're not allowed to sit on.
Okay.
That's really funny.
And that chair stays there for the rest of the series.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that.
I do love sets that are like worn into a little bit. You know, whether it's like new stuff goes up on the mantle in a family room over time, or plot points from previous episodes stick around like in the background. You know, fuck me for an example. I can't think of one, but like, I know, but I love that when that kind of stuff is like incorporated into the set design.
Yeah.
Lesley did bring up the best joke in the episode is the scene at the end where they're trying to come up with a way for Bill to smoke on the air without bothering anybody. So they have Joe hermetically seal the sound booth, and Dave and somebody are walking out of Dave's office, and they walk past, and you just see this dense fog of smoke filling the booth. And you can only tell that Phil Hartman is in there because you can see him moving when the smoke... Yeah, when the smoke moves because he's moving.
Lighting a match, yeah.
That's such a good visual.
That's really good, yeah.
Not to give him credit, but I did laugh at the Joe Rogan line of, I don't know, I'll figure something out over the weekend.
Can you breathe in there? I'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
How do we drain it or whatever? How do we ventilate that room?
How do we ventilate it? Yeah. He's like, I don't know, I'll figure it out.
I just appreciated the really low energy delivery of that.
Yeah. Since we're on this subject, and since I think that we're getting ready to wrap up, before we do, and before I ask a question that we ask of most, if not all, of our episodes, I do just want to quickly point out that the last thing that I had in my notes was to bring up how jarring it was and how much it took me back to the fact that we clearly are absolutely in the hands of 90s comedy writers with the Woody Allen joke that I mean, it's not, here's the thing about it. It's not that it didn't age well. Like, the joke should have never been fun. Like, society did not age well. It's not that the joke was written in a state of ignorance about what Woody Allen had done or who he was. Like, no, they knew that was the joke, and in the 90s it was fun to make fun of that. And so yikes. So that's all I have to say.
The 90s where I guess sex crimes didn't exist.
Oh, they existed, but they were funny. God almighty. Yeah, but that said, what do we think our favorite jokes were? I know, Jeff, I imagine that last visual gag, that last visual bit is yours, right?
Absolutely. But also, this isn't a joke. This is just one of those, like, oh yeah, the 90s was different things that I found hysterically funny, to the point where I paused it and made my wife come out and see. The first time you see the laptop that Dave is working on.
Yes!
It's like 3 feet thick. It looks like a Game Boy Advance, like the fold open one. It's so cartoonish.
Yeah, the Advance SP. Yeah, it's like a Tandy, I think, is the brand of computer. So funny. It's so funny.
Yeah, like it's thicker than his arms.
It's
so big.
We ran into that on the Larry Sanders show as well. Gary Shandling will like walk around with like a laptop like yay thick or whatever. Or they'll all be in the...
Looks like he's got a briefcase that he's holding weird.
They'll all be in like the conference room with like a bunch of like newspapers and post-it notes, and one person has the laptop on the table, as opposed to everyone having their own.
Yeah, it's just one laptop.
Person.
Yeah. The one who lifts the most, bro.
Yeah.
There's just like one huge ripped dude, and
they hire a guy. Yeah, they hire a guy to carry the laptop around.
God.
He's actually not one of the writers. He's actually just the laptop
right,
operator because he can lift.
And then and now he hosts the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yo!
That's what he needed all those steroids for.
I
hate him so much. He is such like an ignorantly oblivious like monster man. He gets paid $100 million to host that stupid little show. He goes where he just like inhales whole cigars and goes, "Makes you think, huh?" I hate him.
Yeah, I know, Ben.
Oh, man.
I know.
I wish I could get paid that much to be curious but intensely stupid.
But here's the problem with that, is that then the reason why he gets paid so much is because he is so famous. And he is famous for being that guy.
Yeah.
So you would have to get paid that kind of money for being famous for being that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Which is grim.
Yeah.
There's no money in podcasting unless you're...
Yeah.
It's
Capitalism. It's bad, actually.
What?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I know. I've seen Bug's Life.
Wow, Ben. Just on fire today. Well,
I really like that movie.
Oh, one more joke that I love that, it's not even a real joke in the series. I just realized at one point that Jimmy James, his name is James James.
Yes, it is.
And that just made me flash back immediately to the joke my mom always used to tell about, we thought for a while we were going to name you Martin, but then we decided not to.
That's awesome.
It's like, thanks, Mom. You're very
Thanks,
funny.
Mom.
I too have been threatened with dorkier first names that they could have given me at one point. But I dodged.
At least they couldn't have given you your last name as your first name. I mean, they could have, but they would have sounded completely insane and the hospital might have stepped in.
Jeff, I need you to know that I successfully dodged Gus.
Oh, that's... Yikes.
It's of Horses and Men with Lesley and Gus.
Gus. So I was named after my great uncle, and my mom came up with it in the hospital, or not in the hospital, in the car on the way to the hospital after her water had broken, because that's how much thought she put into my existence. Which is just absolutely none. But it's a great name anyway, so it doesn't matter. So my favorite joke from this episode, I would say, oh my gosh, I had it on the tip. Well, honestly, anything that Stephen Root does, like anytime he was on screen, was just the most delightful. The continued gum gag, for some reason, got me really, really
That also
good.
felt very theatrical.
Yeah, where she had to take the gum out of her mouth in order to keep, in order to talk, because she was using it to quote unquote quit smoking. But the only reason that it existed was for comedic effect. I just loved it. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff, and I thought that was
Actually,
great.
we didn't really talk about the character of Beth, who I feel like was in every 90s sitcom as, the redheaded underling. That was in every sitcom. Was just there was a redheaded woman who was a comedic relief character who was an underling. And that was just in every show, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Lesley, did you appreciate the mention of mini magicians in a row by Stephen Root?
I did. Okay, that I didn't want to be cliche about it and say that was my favorite joke, because obviously the humor is that Siegfried and Roy are they're a pair. Right. And so for him to be like, Siegfried, no. Roy, that's the one. But yes, anytime that magicians are mentioned at all, I just fill with delight, especially when there's a time capsule of popular magicians from the 90s. So that's always interesting to hear. So yes, I did enjoy that.
That was
deeply.
Rest in peace, by the way, both Siegfried and Roy, as of last year.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite jokes. So unfortunately, that and the final visual gag were both of my hits. So unfortunately, what more is there to do? I do like when Dave just kind of goes like, "No, I think I'm doing okay. My arms feel 12 feet long." It was just beautifully understated.
When Bill said he hacked up something that looked like escargot that morning after he hadn't smoked for 9 hours or what, as someone who struggles with trying to quit smoking constantly, that was very on point. That's why the whole episode was very on point. It was great.
I think we're wrapping up this episode. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute blast to have you on.
It's been wonderful, Jeff. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Before Lesley and I mention our Twitters, why don't you tell people where people can find you and all of the various projects that you're working on? I think you have as many irons in the fire as I do.
Yeah, it's they're hard to keep track of. I keep grabbing the wrong one and pulling it out. It's a whole thing.
You're supposed to, by the way, grab them by the cold end, to be clear.
What?
Yeah, you're not supposed to grab the irons from the hot end.
Why did no one tell me this before now? My hands are so fucked up, you guys.
Today you learned.
Like, I am wearing, like... It looks like I'm wearing mittens all the time, but I'm not.
Oh.
I was wondering what was up with your hands. Now I know.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
So anyway, yeah, my Twitter is @HeatComic. That is where you will find me notifying people when my new comics come out. And also probably talking about the NHL playoffs. Or about basketball. Or just making terrible jokes. Which is, I think, what Twitter is intended for. Sports yelling and bad comedy.
1000%. I love it.
You can read my webcomic, Hell Inc. That is sort of my major ongoing project currently. It is at hell.rentathugcomics.com, or you can just get the link from my Twitter account. It's about demons who work in the office that runs hell, so if you like this podcast about workplace comedies, you will probably also really like that comic. You can also read it on the Webtoon app, if that is your preferred reading method. I have a book coming out later this year that I'm apparently still not allowed to talk about for marketing reasons I don't understand. But yeah, just follow me on Twitter. You'll get all of the stuff I'm doing from there.
Exciting.
Folks, you can find me online at Ben C. Hamlin. That is BenChamlin. I recently told more people what my middle name is, thus ruining my mystique. You can check out my other shows, Parascience, an exploration of the supernatural and unquantifiable, every other Tuesday right here on InfinityBreak.net. That show took a brief hiatus. We'll be coming back soon. And of course, Legends of Leia, where I play Hugo Charlemagne Augustus Robert Danton du Fontaine as we travel across the beautiful country of Leia, and my accent frightens everyone. In addition to that, I invite you to check out all of Infinity Break's other work at InfinityBreak.net. Lesley, where can people find you?
People can find me at Vanetti, Vanetti, where I talk about, pretty much, as been said before, anything that I want. I talk about, I just don't know. And I mean, sometimes it's for salt, sometimes it's for laughs, sometimes it's for Shiba news. It's whatever. It's just come hang out with me. It's always a fun time. It's never boring. I will say
never
that.
boring. In addition to that, thank you so much for listening to Syndicated with Lesley and Ben. We are kind of wrapping up our workplace comedy season. We're certainly past the halfway point. Lesley and I talked about what we're going to be doing next after this. We still have a couple more episodes, folks, of workplace comedies. If anybody wants to come on this fucking show to talk about Taxi, you're more than welcome to, as I think that would be the oldest workplace comedy that counts. The Dick Van Dyke Show, I think, has also been suggested. As being appropriately old enough and appropriately enough about work.
Yes.
But anyway, we still have a few more episodes of workplace comedies. But Lesley, do you want to talk about what we might be doing next? Although I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it's what we're doing next.
I mean, should I talk about it? I mean, we kind of alluded to it earlier.
By mentioning Bill Dauterive. Oh, and The Critic.
Yeah, and The Critic. We're going to be doing adult cartoons next. Not the shitty ones. Don't worry. We're not going to make you listen to us talking about Family Guy or whatever the fuck, like Cleveland Show bullshit. No, good ones. Really good ones. Like The Critic and like King of the Hill and other ones that have substance, value, and talent.
The Simpsons, Tuca and Birdie. We decided all of those count. We might even cover BoJack Horseman again.
It's entirely possible.
Even though we just
Are you just going to re-upload your episodes from the other podcast and be like, look!
Yeah. Hey everyone, welcome to Syndicated with Lesley and Ben, a bi-weekly podcast where we talk about BoJack Horseman.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I'll just swap out the name of the program. Hypothetically, in the works. Who knows what we'll do after that? Obviously, we have a number of genres that we could be doing in the future. Maybe even, to upset Lesley, reality television. Wow, perfectly timed. Folks, if you want to... I'm kidding. But if we did, we could cover, Survivor. And I think that would be fun.
Okay, we can talk about it.
All right. We'll talk about it. Folks, you can check out, Syndicated with Lesley and Ben right here on InfinityBreak.net, coming out every other Monday. In addition to that, we have a Patreon that you can follow at patreon.com/InfinityBreak, where you can support this show for as little as $1 a month. You can extra behind-the-scenes nonsense, including in this very episode where I stormed off set to run outside and ask my neighbor to please stop mowing his lawn for the 5th time this week. I'll be putting that up on the Patreon. Both whatever Lesley and Jeff ended up talking about, and also me coming back and saying I don't respect that old man.
That's good. We had a good conversation about I don't even remember anymore.
But I bet it was great. And
I think what time the sun sets. Very hard hitting stuff.
Yes, we were talking about very hard hitting stuff. We were talking about what time the sun sets and how it affects my phone usage. Really riveting. Really riveting.
And,
can't wait for you to hear it.
And you can hear me stomping out of breath in the distance.
Yeah.
Anyway, patreon.com/Infinity Break. Please tell your friends about the show. Help spread the word. We greatly appreciate it. This show, of course, has a logo by Terra Bosart, a theme song by Mandra Sigma, who we don't mention often enough. We highly appreciate your listening to this program. We will be back in 2 weeks' time for another episode of Syndicated with Lesley and Ben.